Friendly reminder, it's game 6, that was game 6, so still a long way to go in the season. And like 3-2-1 isn't even that bad of a record. Like, it's not the hot start that we had last season, but it's still a winning record in the NHL, so that's good. But the Vegas Golden Knights lose. Not today again, old friend. 4-3 to the Florida Panthers in overtime. And the frustrating thing about this game is Vegas just couldn't extend a lead or hold on to one for that matter. They scored, Florida scored, they scored, Florida scored, they scored, Florida scored. It was just a back and forth, and then in overtime, instead of being able to score first before Florida can, or at least even holding it to the shootout, which, I mean, it wouldn't have gained us another point, but this whole point system needs to be adjusted a little bit. But we lost. Ilya Samsonov's second game as a Golden Knight, and it was okay because it's the super highs and the super lows, which is something that I was expecting from Ilya Samsonov, according to the consensus report from Toronto. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Let's go back. Okay, first period. Fact check first this time. It was all Florida to start this game. They outshot us 6-0 through the first half of the first period, at least. It was interesting because I wouldn't say that Florida had been the more dominant. They had more ozone time, but they weren't dominant. But Vegas couldn't do anything offensively. They had some good breakouts into the neutral zone and into the offensive zone, but they didn't do anything with those chances. Not that they were chances. They didn't do anything with the puck in the offensive zone, basically. Until, with 33 seconds left to go in the first period, an awful giveaway just turnover from Florida in their defensive end, which gives the puck directly to Nick Waugh, who Tanner Pearson is the person that created that turnover kind of in the beginning. And Nick Waugh gets it and he passes it back over to Pearson, who snipes it past Bobrovsky, who played really, really well tonight, but it's 1-0 Vegas at a brutal time with 30. It was really, really awful for Florida. Bobrovsky had made a couple of huge stops in this first period. There was a flurry of activity from Cole Schwindt. Had a really solid moment where he tried to drive through 3 Florida Panthers players, and he did good. He was able to get the puck back and did a backhand shovel shot towards the net, and Bobrovsky had to make the save, and that was fantastic. And then Holtz behind the net gathers the puck, tries to bank it in off of Bobrovsky, and Bobrovsky was sharp. It was good. Which is bad for us. Tanner Pearson's first as a Vegas Golden Knight. Love to see it. He had a really good game tonight too. In general, he hasn't been super noticeable through the first 5 games, which, I mean, for a player in his position, can't complain. That's fantastic. He hasn't been brutal, he hasn't been great, but that's not his role as a depth player. But he chipped in tonight with the offense. Great, fantastic. Second period starts. And this was the Sammy that was advertised from Toronto. The worst goal allowed so far this year. And Hill has not been great. He's not been bad either by any means. He's played solid hockey. His goals above expected are below what I think actually represent how good he's been, because the plays that have gone past him, there was literally nothing he could do. It was defensive breakdowns. We got out of system, according to Petro. Anyway, back to Reinhart's goal. So Florida Panthers get the puck up the ice and then over towards Reinhart, who's basically at a really sharp angle. And on the other side of the faceoff dot, just picks up his stick and slaps it towards the net. Even if this puck went off of Eichel and went in past Samsonov, that should not have gone in. His 5-hole was open. It goes directly underneath his legs, and he never went down. I don't know if he just wasn't expecting this goal or puck or whatever, but it ended up being a goal because either he was taking it easy for them. I just don't know mentally what was going on there. And it's a tie game 1-1. Again, this new line of Pearson, Waugh, and Kolazar, which, Cassidy put the lines in a blender a little bit, tweaking them, and that line, they played really well tonight. And there's 5 minutes left in the second period, and Pearson sends a shot on. Bobrovsky this time wasn't ready for it. And I think even if Kolzar didn't tip this in, it still would have gone in, but Keegan Kolzar tips it at the front to get his first of the season, and it's a deflected goal, and it's 2-1 Vegas. And you never know, but Cool. Pearson, again, the primary assist there. Nick Waugh with the secondary, so they both have 2 points on tonight, and this is Keegan Colzar's first of the night, but just really solid effort from that line to generate offense this game. But Nick Waugh, as much as I'm praising him here, has taken quite a few penalties this year, more than he should, and there is a power play for Florida at the end of the second period, and Lundell, it's a really sweet passing from the Florida Panthers to be able to generate this opportunity. Verhaeghe to Lundell, back to Verhaeghe, over the ice to Bennett, who's just going towards the net and just taps it past Samsonov, and it's a tie game 2-2, and there's really nothing Samsonov could have done there. In general, like, that was just a beautiful play from Florida. Cool, and on their power play too, and so it's a tie game 2-2 going into the third. By the way, Florida is playing roster man down. They only have 17 skaters. They have been injured a lot, and they had a great departing themselves last year from their cup-winning team. 9 players is what they were saying on the air, but we've been wearing them down a lot, right? And the turnover at the end of the first was brutal, and they have another turnover forced by Brett Howden, who this year has been phenomenal. Really, really good, versatile player for us, and he creates a turnover here and just drives with the puck towards the net, pulls off this nifty little deke in front and buries it past Bobrovsky to make it 3-2 Vegas. And in general, like, this third period from Samsonov has been phenomenal for him. He's played really well, and he's made it look easy too. And in that first game that he played for us, where he's still got the win against Anaheim, he looked solid, but I wasn't comfortable with him in that. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a feeling of watching the way that he played. And this next play is a prime example of why. He goes to try to catch it, and it's a puck that's just thrown on net, and his glove hits it. He makes the stop, but he doesn't catch it, and the puck just drops out in front of him. Reinhart's sitting there, and he taps it over to Luosterainen, who's going around, and he just buries it with the open net past Samsonov to tie the game 3-3, and there's like 8 minutes left to go in the period, 7, whatever. Just unbelievable. Like, he played so well, and then 2 of the goals that he allowed tonight in regulation were just awful. Not great. But, and I wasn't going to say anything because of how Tampa ended, but I was expecting this game to go to overtime, and it just kind of felt like it. And when we got to overtime, Vegas' first overtime of the season, Florida controlled the puck for a large part of the first part, and then we finally get possession, and we have opportunities, but they get broken up. We don't really get a good shot on. Samsonov makes a couple of pretty big saves in overtime. But eventually we just were exhausted. Eichel has amazing closing speed. He's a very talented player. And then he gets the puck, and it's a potential 2-on-1 the other way, but he is gassed. And so he gets the puck in deep, but he like goes around to the boards and gets the change, but in that whole process, Florida gets the puck, and they're driving the other way, and it's a partial 2-on-1, and so they end up just a really well-designed play from Florida. The Forsling is able to chip the puck in. He's driving in, drops it off for Reinhart, who passes it over to Bennett on the other side. Theodore tried to switch to Bennett, but Stone or whoever was back checking also grabbed him, and it left Forsling completely wide open on the other side of the cage, but it did have to be feathered in there through the seam from Bennett, and it was a perfect pass over to Forsling, who just wide open net, and of course he just buried it top shelf. He didn't have to, but he did. And this is one of the problems that Vegas has had basically all season, which is only 6 games deep, but still, they are unable to extend the lead. And when we play back, we have a really good defensive structure, but we can get away from that when that's all that we're doing is playing defense. There's a quote from The Good Place, Jason Mendoza, who's a fantastic quote, where he says, playing prevent defense prevents you from winning. And that's just one of the examples of what has happened in these 2 games against Florida. We have been unable to hold on to a lead because our structure just collapses, and they take advantage of that. They're a really good team even when they are this deflated in the amount of people that they have in their lineup and being healthy and all that jazz, and with even a man down. Paul Maurice even said this was their best game of the season. And that we can't have that if we expect to be a contending team with basically our full roster, minus William Karlsson, who does make a huge difference, and I guess also having Olofsson out, and those 2 players in for Brisson and Schwint would make a huge difference. But This defensive core should be one of the best in the league, and they haven't been playing like that so far this season. They have at times, just not consistent enough. And so it's frustrating to leave this road trip losing every game. And those are the 3 games that my kids are able to watch. and I don't have the heart to, because like, what if he thinks it's him and it's not, because that's not how sports works. But a little bit of a break before our next game, but we play LA at home on Tuesday. So not much, but a 2-day break instead of just every other day. And that game is at 11 p.m. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to, we'll see. It's 8 p.m. Pacific, but 11 my time. So ridiculous. So I guess we'll find out. The kids are 0-2-1, and then me by myself watching the games is 3-0-0, so we just need to lock in. We need to pick up our structure. We need to play a full 60 minutes, and we have not been able to do that really so far this year. Nothing Samsonov could have done on 2 of those goals, but also Florida had a ton of shots. There was like 40. Did they end up with 40? Yep, 49. Holy moly. He did really, really solid. 2 of those should not have gone in, and there was nothing he could have done on 2 of the other ones. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Not time to panic yet. I'm worried just because, like, this is, but that's because I'm an unrealistic fan who just wants to win every game. But that's gonna be it for tonight's Nightly Review. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.